Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday morning to you, and welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. Hey, don't forget, please, be sure to go to Now TV Network. Some of the links to some of the channels and stations and programs that carry my program every Friday morning, 9:30 Central Time. You'll find those links. Those links are on my website. They are on several web pages, and you can find that. So please go there and view those programs. Now, we are currently in our study of the Olivet Discourse. We are looking at Jesus' prediction of his coming, the end of the age, his parousia. We're getting ready to get into the nature of the language in Matthew chapter 24, 29 and following, where Jesus said they would see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. All right? Now, over the last several months on my TV program, I have been discussing the challenge of Christ and Jesus' promise to come in the glory of the Father, as I discuss in my book, Like Father, Like Son on Clouds of Glory. Now, do not forget, okay, that for the rest of November and all of December, I'm offering a very, very special 3-book special. My book, Like Father, Like Son, on Clouds of Glory. The Resurrection of Daniel chapter 12, verse 2, fulfilled or future. And Blast from the Past, the truth about Armageddon. And by the way, thank you so much to all of those of you who have already ordered. But normally, if you purchase these books separately, it would cost you over $61. But for November and December 2019, for U.S. orders only, I can't do it for overseas orders, but your total delivered price, $40. You talk about a great Christmas present, okay? I can't make this kind of an offer very often, but for you to be able to have this kind of resource, this kind of information, this kind of ammunition, if you please, I think will be very, very helpful to you. All right, we are discussing in Matthew chapter 24, in verses 10 through 12, Jesus predicted the coming of false teachers, false prophets. In verse 26 and following, he discussed the coming of false messiahs. Now remember, this was all to take place before, quote, the end. The Greek term there is the end. And it's the end, in spite of what some people have claimed. You know, the disciples asked us, tell us what shall be the consummation of the age. Matthew 24 and verse 3. Well, we've got some people who are coming along, former preterists, and saying the consummation of the age is different from the end in Matthew chapter 24. So here's what we supposedly have. The disciples, in response to Jesus' prediction of the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, when the disciples asked, tell us what shall be the sign of your coming and the end of the age, okay, the end, the consummation, suntelia, to aionion, and variations. So they ask about the end of the age. Jesus said, this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to the nations, then comes the end. And yet we have some former preterists telling us that the consummation of the age in Matthew 24 verse 3 is supposedly different from the end that he's talking about in verse 14. They're doing such a hatchet job on the text of Matthew 24 as to be literally unbelievable, and it's just extremely sad. Well, back to the text and Jesus' prediction. Jesus said there would be false messiahs, there would be false prophets to lead away the saints. Now, in an absolutely remarkable text, in 1 John, and I do hope that you will actually go there and read the text. 1 John is extremely powerful. In 1 John chapter 2, John lets them know that the world, the fashion of this world, is already passing away. Back in 1 John chapter 2, 8 and following. The night is passing away. It's far spent. The true light is already shining. If it's nighttime and you see the light in the east, you know that daylight, you know that the day is not 2,000 years away. You know it's not 100 years away. You know it is at hand. Coming real soon, as a matter of fact. But now notice 1 John chapter 2 and verse 18. Now remember, after saying in verse 17, the world is present, active, indicative, is passing away. The darkness is already passing. The day is already shining. After saying those things, John says, little children, it is the last hour. What? And as you have heard that the Antichrist should come, or is coming, even now, what, John? Even now, 2,000 years ago, even now, many Antichrists have come. Please catch the power of this. By this, by what? Many Antichrists have come. You know, some people seem to have forgotten what antecedent references are. Anyway, by this we know it is the last hour. Now let me ask you a question. In the writings of John, in his writings especially, what is the last hour? It's the hour of the resurrection. John chapter 5, 24 through 29. The hour is coming in which the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of Man and shall live. The hour is coming, he said. Well, it was already there. Do not marvel at this, for the hour is is coming in which all that are in the grave shall come forth. What hour? Well, it's the hour of the last day. So it's the last hour. So here is John, and oh, by the way, John's reference to the last hour is taken directly from the book of Daniel. An author by the name of Mahalios wrote about John's use of the Danielic last hour motif, proving definitively. I mean, it's a powerful book. That John's reference to the last hour, the pivotal, the eschatological hour, is taken directly from Daniel. And guess what Daniel had to say about that appointed time, about that hour that was coming? He said it would be, oh, by the way, when the power of the holy people has been completely shattered. That would be at the last day, at the appointed time, at the coming hour. So here is Daniel predicting the last day. Here is Daniel predicting the end of the age. He uses a cognate of Matthew 24, verse 3, of which the disciples were asking about. Here is Daniel predicting the consummative hour. Here is Daniel predicting the resurrection. And here is John in his writings referring to that consummative hour. And John says, little children, it is the last hour. Well, I wonder what that last hour is. It's the last hour of the night. The night is passing away. The true light is already shining. The world is passing away. What world? Well, it's clearly not physical creation, because physical creation has not passed away. It was the old covenant world that was passing away. The world of sin and death and bondage. And the true light of Jesus Christ and his new covenant, which gives us righteousness and life, was about to be fully manifested. Now, in tomorrow's video, and by the way, this is going to be a really, really short week, right? This is Thanksgiving week. But I've decided I'm going to take off a day early for Thanksgiving. So I'm only going to do videos today and tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving, all right? And happy Thanksgiving to me. Going to take a little bit of time, chill out, what have you. Actually, I'm going to do a whole lot of writing and research. But nonetheless, only 2 videos this week, Monday and Tuesday. Going to take off Wednesday, and then, of course, Thursday is Thanksgiving. And so let me again say, I want to wish you and your family the very, very best of happy Thanksgiving. But back to this. Tomorrow, I'm going to be looking even closer at 1 John chapter 2 to see the significance of what John is saying in the light of Matthew chapter 24. Now remember, Mr. Sam Frost says that Matthew chapter 24 and these prophecies here about the coming of false prophets and false messiahs has to do with the entirety of the Christian enterprise, as he is now calling it. Well, then that means that John was saying that the end of the Christian enterprise was at hand. Coming soon, shortly, near, and without delay. You don't want to miss it. In the meantime, take advantage of my 3-book special, Like Father, Like Son on Clouds of Glory, The Resurrection of Daniel chapter 12, verse 2, Fulfilled or Future, and Blast from the Past, The Truth About Armageddon. Get these 3 books, $40 delivered to your door. Go to my website, DonKPreston.com, BibleProphecy.com. Banner right up at the top shows you how to order. Thanks for joining me for this morning's Morning Musings. I'll see you on the flip side.